one here that has been sent in from Ginny. I'm a mother of two and concerned for the world my children are inheriting. I understand by 2040 storms that were 1 in 100 year weather events in 2020 will be annual due to climate change. The current system of free carbon credits given to large industrial polluters who make 10% of Aotearoa's greenhouse gas emissions is set to be in place beyond 2050 when the country is meant to reach net zero. Do you think it is okay to be subsidising pollution in a climate crisis? And will your party commit to getting rid of free carbon credits by 2030 and swap them out for a carbon border mechanism?
All right.
Who wants to go first on that one?
Well, I'll just make one more contribution. I read some years ago that if everybody painted their roofs white, you wouldn't have you wouldn't have any climate change. And I painted my roof white about 3 years ago, and I've read up more about it. You find that it actually reflects the heat. So I urge you all, if you want to contribute towards to reverse climate change, then paint your roofs white. It's a practical solution.
So the Labour 100% committed to taking action on climate change, but we've got to be cautious about Labour is in favour of the phase down and the gradual removal of the free credits. But doing that overnight probably going to shock our economies. This been happened in the 1980s and 1990s. And we have got to take Labour in favour of the just transition. That's all about taking workers and the communities with us, because we do not want people jobless overnight. So while we are in favour of taking action, urgent action actually on climate change, but we've got to be careful and cautious how do we do things, because at the end of the day we don't want to cause a big shock in our economy, because eventually that's going to hurt working people, and they're going to leave a lot of people jobless, and that's not what we want.
So I understand that some parties don't have a policy particularly on exactly that bit. But anyway, so I think we're
saying he's cutting all the revenue from the ETS and giving us tax cuts. I feel like you should answer.
He's not sure. So, but maybe we'll come back to. Oh, okay. He wants to say something.
I mean, one of the great achievements at the moment is that all key parties agree with the ETS. And I think what Ibrahim said represents that type of cross-party consensus, that we do have different interests to balance. And it is true that we will work, in national, we're going to work really, really hard to get the emissions reductions down, but we're going to try and do it in a way that protects the economy, because the economy protects social services. And when you think about the 2-year-old, we've got to think about the climate future of that 2-year-old. We also need to think about the healthcare that they're going to get. We have a healthcare crisis at the moment. A lot of things, when we look at statistics around how long it takes for people to get to a doctor, to see a GP, to see a specialist, I think there's now thousands of people who have been waiting more than a year for surgery. These are also other important points of what we need to achieve for people. So, very committed to it, Nationals committed to it. We want the ETS to succeed, we want New Zealand to succeed in this space, and we want all different positive outcomes for New Zealanders so that we can live and enjoy our country and be happy, healthy, in a good climate environment, but also getting the services that we need.
So tax cuts are all good.
Yeah, sorry, I just have to say, just because we've brought it back to climate change, let's be really clear about what the National and ACT governments stand for, should they be in a coalition government together, a national-led government. We're talking about a coalition government that is committed to repealing the Zero Carbon Act, and we're talking about a government that has committed to abolishing the Climate Change Commission. And that's exactly what we're going to get if we get a national-led government. We are going to roll back the progress that our country has made to reduce our emissions by decades. So I think it's really important that we're totally clear about that. And Yes, absolutely. I agree to the first part of the question, or maybe around, polluters at the moment are getting a really sweet deal from the climate agreements that this government has put through. And we need certainty in our country, and we need pricing on agricultural emissions, which is something that both major parties have been totally uncommittal on. So that is something that the Green Party commits to. And if we have more Green MPs in government, we can have a stronger voice for the climate, because at the moment the Green Party has been the strongest voice for climate action in this government.
Thanks, candidates. We're going to take a 15-minute break for a cup of tea.